Hey there. You're listening to True Story No Cap. Real stories, no exaggeration, no lies. Just the raw, unfiltered moments life throws our way. Relax, lean back, and let's get started. Two friends strolled leisurely along a wide park alley, exchanging news. Their meetings had become rare since Alice had acquired the status of wife and mother. The distance, physical and, as it turned out, not only, was felt more and more strongly. A border collie named Akatosh trotted beside Martha, his owner, looking around attentively. As always, he was the embodiment of calmness and composure. When Martha gave him freedom, the dog, glancing back as if waiting for confirmation, shot forward like an arrow. At the fenced dog park, Akatosh quickly found company. Familiar faces, accustomed rituals. A noisy game instantly began, filling the air with cheerful barking. "I feel sorry for you, Martha," Alice said unexpectedly, making Martha stare at her in surprise. But her friend, without batting an eye, continued, "Look at your life. You have nothing, do you? You're already 26 and no family, no children, not even a boyfriend. Just work and a dog, that's all. You're wasting precious time. At 30, no one will marry you. You'll just be left alone with your dog, your computer, and your chocolates." I was like that myself until I understood what true female happiness is. It's our main purpose. How can you refuse that? Alice asked with genuine bewilderment. Martha was silent, merely smirking to herself, anticipating where this conversation would lead. "But think about it yourself. You're a woman, you must give birth. I resisted too. I said it was too early, but I gave birth and now I can't stop delighting in my little son." She looked tenderly at the stroller she was pushing. "You should have given birth at least for yourself. Without a child, it's not life at all." "Alice, I love you, but honestly, you've lost your mind." Martha finally said what she really thought. "I'm not just a girl, I'm a person first and foremost. I don't want to live the way you're supposed to, or as someone else has decided. I love my dog, my job, my little studio. I love my life, and I like living exactly this way. I am happy, and I find joy in it." Am I supposed to give birth because you gave birth, or because someone said all women are obligated to give birth? That sounds incredibly stupid. You're not the first person to become a mother, and now you're trying to convince everyone that... Martha tried to speak calmly so as not to offend her friend. "It's some kind of herd instinct, honestly. If you gave birth, then everyone around you must do the same. But all people are different. Every woman has the right to live as she wants. And I want to live without children." "Well, you're a fool. You'll regret it later. A woman's happiness is in children and family, not in dogs, apartments, and chocolates," Alice cut off rudely. Martha looked at her friend again with bewilderment. "And what if your mother hadn't given birth to you?" "I wouldn't exist, and it wouldn't matter." "All right, Alice, apparently it's not for nothing that we stopped seeing each other often. I'm sorry that I no longer fit your ideal of a friend," Martha said. She was simply tired of hearing the same thing. How wonderful Alice's son was, how great her husband was, how happy she was in motherhood, and how Martha was simply obligated to give birth. This must complex had appeared in Alice somewhat too abruptly. Before, she had been light-hearted, cheerful, free in her judgments, but a year of marriage and 3 months of motherhood had turned her into a robot, convinced that the whole world owed her something. Martha continued, "Perhaps we shouldn't meet anymore. I don't want to hear that I owe something to someone, that my dog is stupid, and my job is abnormal, as you put it. I think you'll be more comfortable with other mothers whose lives are unfolding correctly." Martha turned towards the enclosure. "Akatosh, come." The dog instantly stopped his game and ran to his owner. She attached the leash and headed away. Alice, stunned by this turn of events, remained standing in place. They walked together again, Akatosh, a loyal companion, by her side. The dog looked at her with such love as if there was no greater happiness for him than simply being near her. Turning onto a side street, Martha thought about the conversation that had just ended. Alice's reproaches, her insistence, all of it was exhausting. She felt tired, but also a strange relief. On the quiet street, Martha unclipped the leash again. Akatosh ran beside her, enjoying his freedom. Suddenly, Martha noticed that the dog had fallen behind. Turning around, she saw him bent over someone. A man was lying on the pavement. Passers-by walked around him, their gazes sliding past indifferently. Only Akatosh, nudging him with his nose, barking and whimpering, was trying to attract attention. Martha rushed to the dog, fell to her knees, and felt for the man's pulse. She called an ambulance. Akatosh circled around. "Good boy, well done," Martha said, stroking his ear. When the ambulance arrived, the man was taken away. Martha and the dog remained standing. She turned to Akatosh. "You did well, but you shouldn't have run off. You should have called and I would have followed you. Understand?" The dog looked at her as if nodding. Since then, she never let him off the leash in the city again. They walked home along the long, again almost empty street, having turned off the busy avenue where the incident had occurred. Martha barely thought about the man. The ambulance staff took her number just in case, but she doubted they would call. She didn't even know him. Martha entered her apartment building. Akatosh, after having his paws washed, settled on his mat and almost immediately dozed off. Martha checked for new orders for the homemade chocolate and candies she made for sale. Her hobby had long turned into a profitable business, although from the outside many considered this job abnormal. Even after learning that Martha earned significantly more than them, people still frowned, claiming it wasn't a real profession. Turning on a TV series in the kitchen, the girl set to work. Going into the living room for molds, she noticed that Akatosh didn't look well. The dog was lethargic, his eyes were watery. Martha examined him but found no other obvious symptoms and returned to the kitchen. In the evening, after finishing her work, she entered the living room again and in horror rushed to the phone to call a taxi. Akatosh was unwell. Tear-stained, Martha sat in the back seat of the yellow taxi. Akatosh lay on her lap, shaking violently, drooling and feverish. His breathing became heavy and shallow. Getting out of the car, she picked up the 20-kilogram dog, barely feeling his weight from the stress. Rushing into the clinic, she handed Akatosh over to the doctors. "I'm very sorry," the doctor said, giving the diagnosis, "but we don't have the necessary equipment for such an operation. We can stabilize him overnight on an IV, and then you'll have to decide, either euthanasia or transportation to a specialized clinic. You'll need special transport. It's expensive. Around $100 just for the transport, and the operation itself will cost a fortune. This breed is susceptible to this disease. You're not to blame for anything. Go home. You need to think everything over until morning." The night passed in tears. Martha didn't know where to find such a sum. She didn't have that kind of money. She didn't have acquaintances willing to lend it. Despair overwhelmed her. She cried from helplessness until she fell into an exhausted sleep. But in the morning, as soon as it was light, she gathered all her savings, her last pennies, and went to the clinic again. Through tears, she whispered to herself that she would find a way, that she wouldn't give up. In the taxi, she clutched the bag of money tightly. The taxi stopped at the entrance of an expensive round-the-clock clinic. Martha went in, ready to beg and look for solutions, but the doctor at the reception looked puzzled. "Your dog has already been taken," he informed her, "and payment for transportation and the operation has been received. He was taken away about 2 hours ago." He added, bewildered, "I just don't understand who did it." "That was me," a voice said from the corridor. Martha turned around and recognized the man, the very one Akatosh had helped on the street. He approached her, seeing her tear-stained face. "Don't worry, he'll be fine. He's already in surgery," he said, leading Martha outside to talk. "The doctors give almost 100% guarantee because you brought him in very quickly. Your dog saved my life when I had a heart attack. People walked past, but he didn't leave me, he called you. I remember him nudging me with his cold nose while everyone else didn't care. There's more humanity in a dog than in many people. They gave me your contact information. My people found you. Upon learning that your friend needed help, I came immediately. Every minute counts here. Consider it a life for a life," the man said, smiling. "I'll never forget this. Thank you. I gathered everything I had. I don't know how to thank you." Martha started crying again, unable to speak. "I make amazing homemade chocolate. Would you like me to make it for you for the rest of my days to repay you?" "What nonsense. It's not that much money for me," he smiled. "If you want to thank me, how about this? When your dog gets better, go on a date with me." Martha couldn't help but smile back at him. Everything was getting better, but Timothy, yes, that was his name, later found out details that shocked Martha. It turned out that if help had arrived a little later, Akatosh would have had almost no chance. and Alice was involved in this dangerous delay. After receiving confirmation, Martha went to her former friend. Upon seeing Martha, Alice immediately burst into tears, apparently hoping to evoke pity. But Martha was cold. "I thought you were just obsessed with motherhood, but I wanted you to want a child. If something had happened to your dog—" Alice squeezed out her monstrous logic through sobs, wanting Martha, having lost her dog, to finally want to become a mother and be like everyone else. "You know, Alice," Martha said calmly but firmly, "someone capable of such cruelty towards an animal is capable of anything. Everything comes back around in life. Wait for your turn. I believe in karma. Goodbye." She left Alice choking on tears and curses, understanding that this friendship was finally dead. Martha went downstairs under the unflattering remarks of her former friend. Their relationship had collapsed overnight. Timothy was waiting for her outside. He smiled, and Martha felt a reciprocal smile touch her lips. Akatosh lay in the back seat, already home from the clinic, and rested his head on her shoulder. Martha thought about how strangely their fates had intertwined. The person her dog saved her dog. It was as if life itself had directed them to each other. With Akatosh by her side and Timothy nearby, Martha felt a true, calm confidence for the first time in a long time. Everything would be all right.